thank you, moms, for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you here to be a part of Mom Chat. Today, we are talking about moms and friends. So I know that you all are women, you're professionals, you're entrepreneurs, you are go-getters, but the one thing we have in common is moms. So moms and friends, let's get right into it. Are friends important on your journey as mothers?
Yeah. No, we were just, as we were warming up, we were talking about how we have to give each other advice, and you don't know until, you'll never know. But we can give you different perspectives, and you need that from mom friends.
But why? Why is that important along this journey, though?
So don't waste time. Like we're telling you, don't make your child your friend.
There we go.
Yeah.
So your son is 15, mine is 7. You're giving me some of that advice now to say, don't do this, or do this, or say this, or don't say that.
8 years of suffering.
There we go.
Yep.
Because there are always things we would wish we had done differently when you look back on it. My daughter's 27, so seeing you with Trey, I have some advice because I've experienced those things.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like, mom friends are important because they bring a little bit of compassion. Like they're not trying to judge you to say don't do that, like how your mom might or your auntie might. Yeah. They're just like, think about it differently, or I understand what you're going through. But they're not going to judge you if you're like, I had my kid sleep in the bed with me till he was 4. They're like, okay, well, that's fine.
I might judge you.
But yeah, I think that the mom friends bring a little bit of compassion and give the advice, but in a way that is relatable for you.
So how do you deal with the judgment that comes from other moms? Because I think we've all, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that I've had moments where I have kind of had a side eye to another mom about something and stood in judgment of her based on if her kid maybe didn't have socks on in the store or didn't have a coat on, or if I heard her saying something to her child in a way that I wouldn't say. So how do you deal with the mom judgment piece?
I can speak to that. I have a close friend. We've been friends for about 40 years, and we both had our children at 20 years old. And in our 20s, this particular friend always exercised what I know now is self-care. What is it, almost 20 years later, I'm like, wait a minute. I should have started that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we never had that conversation. So I never had anybody when I was 20 to 30 to 35 say, exercise self-care. So mom, that's what you need to save yourself. So it's now in my 40s. I feel like it's late, but it's never too late.
Right.
Yeah. So I would always say that to moms, set up your class first, set up your exercise, set up your vacation, all those things to yourself, with yourself, or your friends.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that it's not directly answering the question, but I think you have to meet other mom friends where they are. Because you can come across as judgmental if you're going to make a comment that person's not ready to receive. So I think you make a good point that you need to know your friends, and then when they become moms, you edit your feedback and your comments and your advice based on who they are.
So what steps do you all take to develop those relationships with other moms? What do you do? Is it that you develop these relationships with moms because of your kids having a connection? Or do you look at it where I'm going to develop a relationship with you based on you and I? And if you happen to have a child, then you just happen to have a child. Right. Okay, so you all prefer that one.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I think to build the friendship, you have to be vulnerable. And as a friend, you should be able to do that, and you need to let them know, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And that's where I feel I'm able to connect with other moms. When I just say, I don't know. I'm melting.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Is that hard for you to do?
It's easier with moms. And my friends who are mothers, it's a little bit easier because moms have that energy. You would do anything for your child. And that type of energy, I think, creates a bond between two mom friends. Whereas someone who doesn't have a child, I'm often like, you don't know. You're not really grown yet. I often feel like you're not grown yet.
So a little bit of shade toward the non-mom friends.
Right. Yeah. And you only have to take care of yourself. So you don't.
That's
totally
it is very different. Very, very different frame of reference.
Your own calendar.
Right.
You don't have to talk to anybody when you get home.
You don't have to put on a whole nother hat and have a whole nother job when you get home.
Right. You can just mess up on your own. It's not affecting anybody else.
I'm going to have to unpack that because that's not fair for me to feel that, because some women can't have children.
Right.
But I realize now I do look at you as, you're not grown yet.
You're not grown yet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Judgment.
Tell my therapist.
It is a little bit.
That's not
judgment.
right. That's not right.
So do you all have friends who are non-moms then?
I do.
You do?
I
You
do.
all do? Do you feel like the relationship with them, I realize that it's different because even with mom friends, you have a different type of relationship with everybody. So, you know, Danielle and I, we've been friends since college. Noni and I, we worked together several years ago. Monique, we met through Harold, through my husband. And so do you feel that the relationship can still be as vibrant with a non-mom friend as it is with as it is with a mom friend?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it can be as vibrant, but I just think that a mom friend will get it faster. So, for example, like a mom friend will understand, like if I text you, it's for convenience and I don't have time to have a 25-minute phone call with you, you know, so just text back. The non-mom friend might feel like,
Girl,
we haven't talked in a while, where you been?
Right.
Oh, like I have 20 minutes to talk to you on the phone and catch up. I don't. Send me like that in bullet point and I'll be okay. But the mom friends already know. And they know it's not shade and they know it's all love. So I do think that the mom friends in some regard, like, just get it. The non-mom friends, still near and dear. You know, I still have many childhood friends who haven't had kids yet or may not ever have kids. But I do think that there's a difference.
You need to copyright all that. That was well said.
It was. It really, really was. So then what type of friend are you? You know, thinking about your journey, your mom's, you know, 27 years in, 15 years in, almost eight, you know, total. I know you have 2 kids, but what type of friend are you? That's a good one.
I'm inconsistent. Depending on what's going on, what my child needs, how that's impacting me. I can disappear for a little bit, then I come back up. All right, I got it. But
I don't know if you ever really disappear, the spirit, right? Maybe the physical and maybe connecting with someone. I don't think friends really disappear.
But I'm not.
I think
consistent.
some friends.
I'm not gonna call you every Tuesday.
But some friends need that,
Right.
right? So a good friend that needs that, like once you're my friend,
Right.
I don't. That's it.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
But we do have those friends that are more needy, right? That needs to hear that voice and that text message. And they'll create a story if they don't.
Right. My best friend, we've been friends since we were 7. She recently had a child. It's only 2 years old. And I feel like she finally gets it. Because she would be so offended. Danielle, you know, I text you. I even called you. You know, it's been 2 days. I'm like, has it been? I don't even know. I haven't even looked at my phone yet. And now we're texting back and forth. And I'm just so happy.
She gets it.
Everyone's needs are different. Friends' needs are different. So maybe, just like in your intimate relationships, maybe that's the conversation we need to have. Like, what do you need from me?
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard.
I've never done that with a friend before.
Yeah.
So knowing your friends is important.
Yes.
Like, if Noni and Danielle go underground, it might be, they can be in the wind and they could be with their children.
They coming back.
They coming back.
Right? So then remembering what the friendship is based on and then leading with that and then stopping yourself from creating those stories, especially when as moms, we've got a bunch of different things going on. So we've got side businesses, we've got multiple things that we are juggling, all equally as important. And so when something happens, it might cause us to become more visible at times or to not.
Right. That's a strength of yours. I think you have always been very understanding and flexible with people. And I feel like...
And able to multitask.
Yes.
And check in on people no matter what she's doing. I love that. But I know that's what she's going to do. Like, I know, like, I feel
I wouldn't
safe
say you're
with that.
inconsistent.
No, she's going to say, hey, girl, what's going on?
Right, if we
You
disappear
all right
underground
out there?
too long.
You all right out there?
Yep.
Right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Right. Just something to check in.
Yeah.
What's your strength as a friend?
I mean, as a friend, I think that, well, just thinking as like a mom friend, for me with my group, I was like the experienced one because like I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old and all of my friends have like toddlers or like 2 and under. So like I'm the friend who's like, you're like worried about, it's like trying to sleep train and I'm going to spoil them. And I'm like, they'll survive. They'll be fine. Like, you know, and so I'm like the person that's going to always keep it real with my friends, especially my mom friends. I'm not the one that's going to like give you like fake advice or like BS you because I just feel like I don't have all the answers and I didn't have all the answers when I was figuring out. So you do your own stuff in your way, and you'll be fine. So, like, I just feel like my strength is kind of just listening, but, like, letting you know that, like, it feels like, you know, the end of the world, but we all survive.
You're the grounder.
Definitely.
So that may be it. You may be the more consistent one, or you know, experience can then help you to become the better teacher in those ways.
Maybe the educator.
Yes, right. That is the educator in you, right?
Put
So
your badge on, girl.
That's right. That's right. So what do you all feel like you can improve on when it comes to your friendships?
Intentionality. Like, I feel a strength is listening or cheerleading. I feel I'm a cheerleader for my friends. But I want to make sure I'm intentional about my interactions, where I feel you are intentional. If you're going to get people together, you're thinking about who they are, what they may need. So I want to put more thought into my friendships. That's going to take some time. So I got to get out the bubble. Get real fuzzy.
Step outside yourself. I think I could communicate better about maybe things that I'm doing, what's going on with me, so people can know where I am. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. But I'm really busy, so does everybody understand what I'm doing all the time? Right? So maybe communicate those things better. But sometimes when you get on the phone with your girls, you don't want to talk about that stuff. You just want to laugh. Right? So communicate better.
I mean, I think for me, like, to keep it real, like, I'm the person who, like, maybe I could share more with my friends, because I'm always the strong one, and I'm always the one who listens to my friends. And so they just think that things come easy for me. And they're just like, oh, Monique's done this, and this. But, like, you don't know, because I just didn't overshare when I was in my, you know, my lows. And so, you know, for some of my friends, and I do now, like, as an adult, like, as we grow up, right? Like, I've been an adult for a while, but I think that as I mature, I realize that some of my friends, I'm like, all right, fine, let me share it with you that, like, I've effed up and this is what happened to me.
So
guess what? I'm fine.
Is that you being more vulnerable? Not
oversharing. Well, it's
definitely
vulnerable.
It's the
V word.
I mean, if we have to put it like that, I mean, it might be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable and use the word vulnerable.
That's right. And say vulnerable. Say it again. Vulnerable. Vulnerable. There you go. I can intentionality,
right?
Communication, vulnerability. Mine is asking for help more.
Yeah,
it is at
you, Shira.
Please do not give me the side eye.
She put an S on her chest. I'm like,
this woman thinks she can run for president by herself.
I don't need to take a cake. I
don't take good naps. Just so you know, I take good nap. I don't. Listen, I take good nap.
But I don't know if you know when you need help all the time. I think you think
you
got it. I don't think you always know.
So I can receive that, right? I can receive that, and I will say that asking for help from me is a hard thing. It is a hard thing, because let me say that with some things. I can ask you for help about, oh, can you hand me that pen? Or, you know, can you help me with baking a cake? But to ask for help with some other things, for me, will equal showing a sign of weakness at some point. To say, oh, Krystal can't do that. She can't take care of that. Or she doesn't know how to do that. So my goal, but then my goal is, this is just my thing, is to want to learn how to do things. And so then when I can't, then I will. I don't always go so far out to where I'm drowning. I won't get to that point, but it also, I do want to try.
So you look at others when they ask for help as
not at all. Not at all. That's the crazy part. I don't look at other people, especially other moms, when they ask for help and think, oh, she can't do it or she doesn't have it. I encourage other moms, new moms, to ask for help, to say, this is what I need, because I didn't ask for that stuff initially when Trey was younger. I'm beginning to be more comfortable in asking for that help now, but with me as a woman, I don't always ask for that help. I don't. So then even thinking about asking for help with stuff with your kids, like maybe when they were younger, did you all do that? Did you ask for help?
Yeah.
You did?
I needed help. I was 20 years old. I was in college. So it was just there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I asked for help. Maybe from my husband. I was married at the time. But then when we divorced, I felt like I really had to do it on my own. Like I broke that was broken up. So I need to be that single mom and do it, deal with it.
Right.
So that's when I stopped asking for help. When I felt I almost didn't deserve to ask for help.
So do you still operate in that way now? Oh.
See how we create these stories to our detriments?
Wow.
Yes. Because
So,
I'd imagine
And some
all these
people
things
have
in
no
my
idea
head.
what we're thinking.
Exactly. But all these stories come from, we are the sum of all of our experiences.
Yeah.
They all come from all of that. Because like mine about wanting to prove that I've got it, it's coming from my upbringing to say, okay, no, you got it. You got to stand. You got to rest on your own laurels to be able to show that you can do it and that you can, prove this, not to other people, but to prove it to yourself that you've got it. So then if I carry that same mantra into my practice as a mother, that can sometimes be a huge turn off to my husband, a turn off to my friends, a turn off to my family, a turn off to anybody else that's around me, and it can make me become alienated, and therefore I'm not open to being able to have friends, and that is a bad place to be in. So what's some advice that you all would have for a mom that might be in that space where she might find it difficult to think about how to even start to develop some relationships with some other people who are not moms and even non-moms?
Like, how do you reach out?
Right. How do you develop relationships? How do you
Tell
develop
stories.
friendships?
Often the way I build friendships is when I am talking to someone and telling them a story. Then they're able to connect. Or if they don't connect, then I know that's probably not a friend I need. But instead of me just coming out saying, hey, you want to be my friend? Hey, I often just said, hey, start telling you about myself. And, this happened here. What's your story? And more than chit chat. Definitely
I think it
stories.
takes a while to become friends.
Yes.
Right? To really
Some people think so.
Some people, right.
So for you feel like it takes a while?
As an adult, sometimes to really get to know people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we use that word loosely.
Friend.
But I do feel like as an adult, I can weed through
You can
like
discern the mess.
quick
Right.
to know like
As
if you're worth my
when
time or
younger.
not.
Right.
And like if you're not, then I learned this, probably maybe like 5-10 years ago, that it's okay if like we don't vibe. Like it doesn't mean that I have an issue with you,
Right.
but it just means that we're not gonna connect and we won't be friends.
Right.
But for some people, you can easily, quickly, for me, like maybe after
Like,
2 or
I'm
3,
not feeling her.
times I'm like, oh, this person, we're like one and the same, good background. So going back to your question of like, how could other moms, like it doesn't always have to go back to your kids. So I definitely just feel like I'm not gonna build a bond with a new mom friend strictly through our children. I think it has to be authentic between the two of us. I may not care so much about what's happening with them and their children, but we have other commonalities that will pull us together, and so that can lead to like us having a nice relationship unexpectedly.
One of the things that I remember you told me, Danielle, was this acronym of Q-tip. Quit taking it personal. So I have remembered that one as well. Right. I keep remembering about Q-tip. So do you all think that that's an area that you can grow in for yourselves, to not take things personal? That was something for me, to not take things personal. And this was even as me as a mom. There were times when I may have taken things personal with dealing with another mom in a friendship. But how do you think about, what do you think about that?
I usually don't take things personal, I would say, especially as I get older, because it goes over my head.
But is that you not paying attention or what? I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah, but I think it's a safe space.
Okay.
No, but then I miss some things. But no, I don't. And I also, I'm very understanding of, hurt people. So that empathy often stops me from taking things personally. And then I forget about it. And I'm like, oops, I was mad.
Try to look at both sides, right? Why someone did something. So I don't know if I take it personal too much. Try to look at both sides.
And I really like the Q-tip thing, so that'll stick with me. And I think that, like I said, me being like the oldest mom out of all of my mom friends, or having the oldest child, for my friends, like I don't take things personal. Like, for example, like some of my friends will go and they all will take holiday pictures with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But all of their kids are toddlers, like 2 and under.
Right.
And I have like the 4 and the 8-year-old.
That
I
can
wasn't
hurt
invited.
somebody's feelings,
But
right?
for me,
Yeah.
I guess I don't read into it because
Right.
I'm just like, well, my child is not their age. So again,
Yeah.
I don't take it personal.
Yep.
So I think it's important not to take things personal because you're still their friends, but everybody's going to be in different paces.
Yeah.
And assume the best.
And assume the best.
Assume the best.
Yeah.
Lead with the best. And that's
Yes.
a really good piece of advice that I think we can all share with other moms is to, think about, look at the whole picture, understand that it is a backstory that we have no idea about. Even if it's somebody that we're super close to, we don't know every single, thought that goes into their minds that really goes into that decision. But taking it personal is only going to create more of an issue. That's the bottom line.
And if you're unsure, ask.
Yes.
You gotta, if they're your friend, you should be comfortable enough to say, hey, what did you mean by that?
Yeah.
But
It does require that whole V word.
Vulnerability.
It requires the
and
V
then
word.
them being honest.
Yes.
Right.
So lying can become a part of it too.
But I'm only gonna ask if I really do want to know.
Right.
Right.
So.
Or I have to be aware, right? Because I feel like for me, I'm like a straight shooter, so I may assume that you're okay with receiving everything I'm giving you.
Because
So
I
if you
say I
don't
wasn't.
respond to
Right,
me and
right.
say, hey, Mo,
And
that
that can be looked at
actually-
as aggressive. To some
right,
extent.
exactly. That actually hurt my feelings when
Yeah.
you made that comment about maybe the way I'm mothering or
Yeah.
something. I would never know.
Mhm.
Don't do that to Danielle again, or don't do that to Krystal again. So I think that you have to remember as a mom, you have to share what your triggers are
Right.
and what you're comfortable with or not comfortable with to people that you may have known forever, but now in your mom space,
Right.
you're a different person. So
You
I
do
think
get
that
particular.
you get particular.
Right.
So I
Don't
think
feed
you-
my child that.
Exactly.
Or don't
Right.
say that to me quite that
Oh,
way.
right,
Or
right.
that hurt my feelings.
Right.
Have you had to speak up about that kind of stuff?
For me, no, because I don't care that much. I feel that I'm more of a go with the flow person. You can tell me what you think, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I'm still gonna do this. But so for me, I'm okay. But I am mindful of how I deliver my thoughts and my suggestions to people.
Yeah. So thinking back to when you all became moms, switching gears a little bit, did your friendships take a hit?
I think it ebbed and flowed. When I first had a child, all the friends are there supporting, so you just feel that energy, that village. But then you need that time, and then the friends will come back again around birthdays. So I felt, not that they took a hit, they just morphed into something different. Yeah.
Well said.
So were you comfortable with that morphing?
Yes, because as a new mother, it was all about my child. So I might not even have noticed that there was morphing because it's all about my Daniel. Everything was my baby.
Yeah.
It still is.
Right, but I think when I noticed it when I needed another mom. I needed a friend. I was like, where my friends at? And realized I had kind of been gone for a little bit. So then having to repair those. Yeah. So ebbed, flowed, morphed.
And being comfortable with those ebbs and flows,
Yes.
right? And just understanding that life happens. So the way that your relationship looks with somebody,
Yes.
Even when your child is 1, is not exactly how it's going to look when they become 27, when they become 17, when they even become 7. So then again, going through some of those same steps, which can be hard, speaking up, being vulnerable, saying how you feel, asking for what it is that you need, and communicating, and then being present and being intentional to be able to let people know, really how you feel and what it is that you want. Because we can't do it by ourselves.
Right.
We can't. Friends are super important to where we are along this journey. So what would be some really good advice that you have for another mom, maybe of a 27-year-old at this point in her life? No matter where she is when it comes to friendships, another mom who has an 8 and a 4-year-old, another mom who has a 15-year-old, what would be some advice for her around how she can, I guess, look at friendships in her life?
Let your friend know that you have a fupa.
Really? Are you
Yes,
serious?
I'm dead serious. Let your friend know what you struggle with too.
Oh, in that way.
that
When
way.
you said it, I was
But
like,
also
wait a
fupa.
minute, where we go?
I want to know that you don't like your little gut either, right? Or that you got some stretch marks too.
Right.
So advice is be real about that and start with something, that's all
That
because
we all
of your
have in
child.
common.
Or when you're not enjoying being a mom.
Yeah.
There you go.
And sometimes it can be real corny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of a 27-year-old, you would say, look, just say when it's no fun.
Yeah, it's no fun. And I'm still a very hands-on mother, based on my relationship with my daughter, and we do business together. So it's not the, I would say, average 27-year-old mother-daughter relationship. Hands-on, daily. And sometimes that too can be stressful for me. Because I'm like, look, you're 27, right?
Yeah.
But this is what I created, right? And it still feeds me. But sometimes it can be overwhelming because I'm looking at her age, and she's still right here,
slurping.
She's right there.
She's right there.
Right.
Yeah. Do you foresee it continuing like that?
Once that man gets in the picture, no.
And that stuff dries
So
up.
she'll decide.
All dries up.
So what's some advice you would have?
So it doesn't end when they get old. When they get older, depending on what boundaries you put in place.
Yeah.
Right. So like what we talked about earlier.
Right.
They're not your friends.
Something almost has to make you create boundaries.
Yes.
There has to be something else.
By choice or by force? Honestly.
Right. Either one. I don't know. Whatever comes first.
Or just out of pure necessity.
Necessity that I gotta have some boundaries because I have a significant other, or there needs to be boundaries because you have someone else that needs to, it's because they're another human gets into it. Because like if I move somewhere, that's not a boundary.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's like another thing. Makes sense.
And I think there are some mothers that are really good at creating boundaries, and I admire that.
It's not always an easy process. I don't think.
Sometimes I don't know when we don't know when we need to do it.
There you go. You don't know that a boundary needs to be created.
And that's
but
when you need your
that's
mom
when
friends.
you need your mom friends to be able
You're
to
like, wait,
say,
was this a little strange?
yes, like you
say,
told
yes,
me,
that was
okay,
strange.
let Trey know, he's not your friend. Say this. Do not vent to him. Do not use him as your sounding board because that's not going to be good for you in the end. So I was like, oh, dang, I didn't think about it like that, but I'm glad that you were aware enough to be able to tell me that.
And so when Imani was little and I wasn't married, so she was the only child, and I didn't have a mate. So she's just hearing and feeling everything, and I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Right? And she was a girl, so, so we have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because they're not a therapist either.
No.
And,
not your friend, not your therapist, not your man, not your woman. None of that.
I mean, I think that for me, my advice would be like make time for yourself. So like I make time for yourself, and if you have a husband or partner, make time for them. So like for me, I've been going to be married 14 years this year and been with my husband 20 years. So way before we had kids.
Yeah.
And so we go on an adults only vacation every year.
Yeah.
And so like that is like a carved out time where it's just for us, and I'm mindful that we have to like enjoy ourselves too outside of our children. And so like that takes planning, right? Like who's gonna watch the kids, who's gonna do this, who's gonna do that. But I make sure that that happens. And so my advice to like other moms are like, you're not gonna like miss out on the world if you take a week off and take care of yourself. And so that's what I find myself over and over telling all my friends that have like the 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, is that like you're wearing yourself out and you have a whole life to go. Like you have a 27-year-old, so if you're worn out at 3, I mean, you're just at the beginning of the journey. So take time for yourself and recognize that if you are not well, you can't be there for your kids.
Did you start out that way when Mackenzie was younger? Kind of taking that mantra?
I did, and I think it was probably out of selfishness at the time, just of like me wanting to, you know what, I take it back. It was me thinking about my husband, of saying that I want to make sure that he stayed happy. So it wasn't for me.
Got it.
Originally, the self-care, it wasn't about myself, but it was
human
about...
in the other mix. There was another person.
Right, it was somebody else.
boundary.
So it was like, okay, I have to fix you, my child, but then I need to make sure my husband's okay too. But then as I, continue to do it, I recognize like, oh, this is helping me because I get a breather, I get, a break, and then it became more selfish, which is a good thing, to say like, well, this is a break for me. And then sometimes I take a break where it's not with my husband, it's with my girlfriend.
Right.
And so I have, I'm lucky enough that my husband is like, good, go on your weekend, go do your thing.
Yeah.
And so again, a weekend trip once a year and a hubby trip once a year. But do it. Be selfish. Do what you need to do for yourself.
It's important to have your own life.
There we go.
Because you could get lost.
Yeah,
Hide
get
behind
lost.
these little people.
Running them here, running them there, doing this, doing that,
You
cooking
could be
this.
taking them to counseling, and you're not going to counseling.
Exactly. Right. You got to make your appointment at the same time.
Right. I need to be across the hall.
Exactly.
You know,
But
on
some
my
places, I can see the kid and I can see the adult. Like, see you later in one whole hour, and I'll be back. Right.
Kind of thinking of it as mom, me.
Yeah.
To be, I got to be the mom, but I also got to be me.
Yeah.
For me, it's important for me to know, for Trey to know that I do take care of myself. So thinking about that self-care piece, like I want him to know that, okay, I'm having my friends over, or I'm going to dinner with my friends. I'm going to an adult birthday party, or we're throwing a party for your dad for his birthday at the house, and it's for adults only. Like these are, or me and your dad are going on a trip, or we're doing this, or but it's important for him to know that, so that he doesn't think that I'm totally consumed by him, or that everything I do is all about him. It's not.
And don't get caught up in, I'm doing this, a grown-up thing, so I'm going to make sure you have this too.
No.
That's where I think if ever I wasn't giving him all the attention, I would let him know, okay, I'm about to do this, but here, this is, I wanted to make sure he was taken care of too.
Did you ever have a mom friend to kind of check you on that?
No, because I think deep down, maybe my sister, but deep down I wouldn't let my friends hear things like that, because I think I kind of knew that was overboard.
Yeah.
So if somebody overheard me doing something like that, there was some shame in it.
So there was that V word again, being able to be vulnerable.
Like, he don't got to go to the movies just because I'm going to the movies. But I would set that up. No, sit down.
Yeah.
You go. I go.
So having a friend is important.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some questions for you all. We're nearing the end of our discussion, but I've got some one-word questions for you all. My friends are
important.
Satisfying.
Family.
Essential. Second question. My friends know me as
Silly.
reliable.
Strange.
Real.
These are some good deep words. All right. Friendship is important to me because, and this one is obviously more than one word. But yeah, short phrase. But friendship is important to me because
Sometimes you're closer with your friends than your family. Right?
I agree.
So, because sometimes I get lost.
Yeah. Because I need help. I may not always know how to ask for it, but it's important because I need help.
Yeah, because sometimes I might need to be checked.
You give that answer.
Yeah.
She's just making
You do. So in order to be a friend, you have to be
Transparent.
vulnerable.
honest.
Open.
Yeah. All super important words. So mom friends are
Sexy.
sexy? Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
They're important.
They're necessary.
They sexy too.
Crucial.
Crucial. Yeah. So we are wrapping up the end of our discussion for Mom Chat, all about moms and friendships. I want to thank Danielle, Monique, and Noni for being here to talk about this topic. And we encourage you all to engage in your own chats, find your community, and start talking. So we're going to keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us. See you all next time.